Okay.
All right.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, so if you have the book, it's on page number 125.
Are you reading the book? No.
This is a classic. This is a Lubavitch Rebbe classic. One of the most classical sichas of the Rebbe, where the Rebbe explains a mitzvah in the Torah, this week's Parsha, which transforms the whole concept of this mitzvah and the meaning behind it and the lesson that we should all learn from it. So we are introduced this week, this week's Parsha Behalotcha, we are introduced this week to a beautiful mitzvah in the Torah, which is the mitzvah of Pesach Sheni, the second Passover. So we know we all celebrate, we all get ready for the first Passover. It's a major yontiv by the Jewish people, the 14th day of the month of Nisan. It's extremely a busy holiday. It's a great preparation to this yontiv. Months in you mentioned Passover to women 2 months before Yontiv, they start getting goosebumps. So panicky. But because it's a Yontiv that takes a lot of preparation for, and it's a Yontiv that is greatly celebrated by getting rid of all leaven, by eating matzah, and etc. 7 days. It's a great celebration. Later this week introduces us to a second Passover that the Eibishter gave a second mitzvah, that there's a second Passover 30 days later on the 14th day of Iyar is called Pesach Sheni. And how is it the Torah introduced this mitzvah? So the Torah introduces this mitzvah in your text number 1, Numbers 9. Chapter 9, verse 5. The Torah says as follows. The Jewish people came out of Mitzrayim. They came out of Egypt. And they came to the desert, right? They came to Mount Sinai 50 days later. They received the Torah, right? And they went through a traumatic whole situation, right? They sinned 40 days later. And then Moshe Rabbeinu had to go up twice to up the mountain, and that's how ultimately came down with the second tablets on Yom Kippur. And then they started to build the Mishkan, and they built the Mishkan starting from after Yom Kippur, and they finished it on Kislev, and then the Eibishter said they should build it on the start building it, Chodesh Nisan. They should put it up, dedication of the Mishkan, which we have learned in last week's portion of 12 days. And now we're holding Pesach again, right? After this whole turmoil of a year, we're holding again Pesach. So that's what the Eibishter says. Pesach. Don't forget, after this whole year of turmoil and dedication of the temple, my friends, it's Pesach. They should do the korban Pesach. Don't forget, you got to do the Pesach on the 14th day of the month. Bein Arbaim, the Midbar Sinai, in the desert of Sinai. You have to be the Pesach. Don't forget. Pesach that was done after the whole story. This was the first Pesach that was done after the story of going out of Mitzrayim. And the truth is that this was the only Pesach that was done in the desert. Until the Jewish people went into Israel, they didn't do the Pesach for the next 38 years. So this was a very special Pesach. Torah continues. There were these guys, these men. that were impure because they came in contact with a dead body. These are the people that were dealing with the bones of the tribes. We're not sure exactly. There's many different commentators on that, but this is not the point over here. So now they couldn't make the card, they couldn't bring the Paschal off because they were impure. So they approached Moshe and Aaron on that day. They came to Moshe and Aaron on the head of Pesach, and they said to him, the men said to him, we are impure by contact with a dead man. Why should we lose out and unable to bring the divine offering in its time amongst the children of Israel? We can't bring the korban. We're unfair. We cannot bring the sacrifice. Moshe Rabbeinu responds. He says to them, stand here and wait while I will hear what God will instruct you to do. He says, listen, question. Good question. I'm going to go ask the Eibishter what to do. I don't know. And then we have the command. God spoke to Moshe saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, any man who will be impure by contact of the dead or any distant journey or whatever amongst you today or future generations shall bring the Passover to God. They should bring it in the evening of the 14th day of the second month, which is the month of Iyar. They should eat it along with matzah and bitter herbs. Sheni. Mitzvah that was introduced in this week's Parsha, Pesach Sheni, a second Passover. Unbelievable. Second chance, beautiful lesson, right? We all know that lesson. It's in text number 2, the Fidik and Ebba. The theme of Pesach Sheni, it's never too late, right? It's always possible, but to put things right. You always can fix things, even if one is ritually impure or one is at distance, and even in a case when the failure to bring the offer was deliberate, he made himself impure deliberately. We can nevertheless correct it. We always can correct it. Okay?
Does that happen now?
We're going to
We're all
today we only don't see tachnun, we eat some matzah, etc. But there's no Pesach, no Passover. But the lesson still stands. The lesson is there's no fafala, there's no lost case. You're never a lost case in the Jewish nation. You're always, that's the classical, that's the famous teaching of the Fidik and Ebba, that is never too late. A Jew can always fix what he can fix. The truth is, that could have been the law of Pesach Sheni is one of the 613 commandments. I mean, Pesach Sheni is not a secret. So why did this law have to come about in this kind of a fashion? That's really the question. The first question. Why does this law need to come out through these people coming forward and say, what happened if these people would not have come forward?
Yeah.
Pesach Sheni. Because it's part of the Torah. It's like any other mitzvah Torah that was ultimately told by Moshe Rabbeinu. So what is the meaning? So the Rebbe says, look in text number 3. The meaning is, some people ask, God knew in advance that some people would be unable to bring the offering on the 15th of this. It happened constantly. You know, at a funeral on 2 days before Pesach, what are you going to do about it? You're going to become impure. It's going to be a normal situation, right? So, why didn't he present the solution for an impure by designating the 14th of Iyar as a makeup day when he first designated the first of this? Why did Torah have to wait for this whole story? Why does this whole drama have to happen, right? We could have said this mitzvah when God said on the first time, when he said, listen, bring the korban Pesach on the 14th day of Nisan, and if you're impure, bring it on the 15th day of Iyar, 14th day of Iyar. I could have said that. Why was it necessary to wait for Jews to come and ask Moshe? For Moshe to say he doesn't know, and he has to ask God, and only then we need to say this story. Why doesn't it come through drama, so to say? So here's lesson number 2. It's never too late. It's only if you care about it, right? You have to care about it, right? Not too late. You don't care about it. So what do you gain of not being too late? So long as Jews weren't bothered by their inability to join the brethren for the second offering, the possibility of a second offering did not exist. Then the inner Jewish spark blossomed, and they ran to Moshe with a huge cry. How can we possibly separate from our fellow Jews when they bring the offering? Now this created a new answer in Hashem, in heaven, that didn't previously exist. This created, so the point is that you have to come forward and say, Lama Nigara, why do I need to be second? Why do I need to be incapable of doing something? And David says, no, you're capable. Just as their determination to bring this offering exactly from the bondage of Egypt. So it is in every generation, determination to the point of self-sacrifice can extract a Jew from all forms of subjugation and the progressions life events. Lesson. Number one, it's never too late for any Jew in history. Number two, that they say it's never too late is up to you that it should never be too late. Nobody's going to do it for you. If you want that it shouldn't be too late, if you want to rectify something, it's up to you to rectify it. If you cry out and you say, I want this to be fixed, it could be fixed. If you want somebody else to fix it for you, that's not going to happen. So that's the lesson. That's the beautiful lesson. That's the beautiful lesson. Let's go to the Gemara. But the Rebbe brings a Gemara. The Gemara says, like in everything in the Gemara, there's an argument on what Pesach Sheni is really. What is Pesach Sheni? What is the true meaning of Pesach Sheni? What's the nature? So here the Gemara in Pesachim has three rabbis. Rebbe Savar, this is in text number 4 on page 120. Rebbe Savar, Rebbe holds, Rebbe says, I'm sorry, but Rebbe in essence debunks what we just spoke right now, in essence. And he says, my friends, Pesach Sheni is its own holiday. It's its own holiday. What are you talking about? Pesach Sheni is here to fix something. Pesach Sheni is its own holiday, has its own holiday. Its own holiday. Rav Nosson Amar? No, Rav Nosson disagrees. He says it's a redress of first Pesach. It's Tashlumin. It's a redress. It's a do-over of Pesach Rishon. But it's not the restoration for the first Pesach. Okay, it's a redo, but not. It's not like the first Pesach. Pesach is the first Pesach. You can't take away from the first Pesach. Meaning, you missed the first Pesach, you missed it, but we'll let you
Slide.
we'll let you fix it. We'll let you fix it, but not that you have brought back the first Pesach. No. He says it's a restoration for the first Pesach. It's to restore the first Pesach. You missed the first Pesach, you can restore it in the second Pesach. It's a restoration. We have three different opinions what Pesach Sheni is. Let's go to the meaning of this so you'll understand a little bit more. What is the difference between the three rabbis? Let's see how the Gemara, the sages learn the difference. What's the nuances in their argument? Okay, Rabbi, in the simple meaning is Rabbi says it's its own holiday. Nosson says it's a redress of the first holiday, and Rabbi Hanania says Hanania said he says no, it's a restitution. So let's look at text number 5. Rabbi says Pesach Sheni, it's his own festival. This means it's not dependent on the first festival. It has nothing. It's no holiday. No holiday. Rather, it constitutes an independent obligation like any other festival. It's like the festival, like another festival of Sukkot. It's not dependent on any other yontif. It's a new holiday. I mean, Rebbe is really the major question. Really, this sikha is based on Rebbe. Rebbe is the major question. What do you mean it's a new holiday? The Torah says it's for those who are pure. What does the Rebbe mean? That's a new holiday. What is the meaning of Rebbe's statement? Rav Nosson says, let's go to the others. Rav Nosson says he readdresses of the first Passover, but it's not to restore the first Passover. If you did not redress the first Passover, you are liable. Not because you failed to bring the offering the second Passover. So if a person doesn't fix it on the second time around, he's liable for cutis. You're cut off from the Jewish nation because you didn't bring the carbon Pesach. So if you don't do it the second time, why are you punished? Not because of the second time, because of the first time. Because the first is the major holiday. If you miss the first time, you can fix it by the second time. But if you miss the second time, basically punished because of the first time, not because of the second time. But because you failed to bring the first Pesach, because the first Pesach is the major. And he says, no. If you deliberately refrain from bringing the offering on the first Pesach, you're not liable. Because the Torah restores your missed offering on the second Passover. Rabbi Chananya ben Akavia says that the second Passover is a takana for the first Passover, is not just a redoing, it's a fixing for the first Passover. So therefore, if, for example, you deliberately didn't bring on the first Passover, and then you unintentionally didn't bring on the second Passover. Deliberately didn't bring the first Passover, and you deliberately didn't bring the second Passover. You say. Better. You deliberately didn't do it in the first Passover, and you unintentionally didn't do it on the second Passover. What would you think to be the law? Deliberately didn't do it in the first one, and unintentionally, by mistake, didn't do it in the second one. According to Rabbi Barakavia, you are potter, not liable. Cutters. Why? Because that you deliberately didn't do it in the first one has a rectification in the second one. And the second one, you didn't do it not because of deliberately, you did it b'shoigeg. But according to Rebbe and according to Rav Nosson, you would be liable because you deliberately didn't do it on the first one. And that you unintentionally didn't do it on the second one still does not help you for the first one. Got that? Again, according to these three interpretations of the Gemara, what is Pesach Sheni? Is it a separate holiday, or it's a repeat of the first holiday? But really, the first one is the major. That's according to Rav Nosson. The first one is the major. The second one is the Eibush says, if you didn't do it, I'm going to redirect. I'm going to give you another holiday, or it's a fixing of the first one. The Torah, in essence, put in a fixer that if you missed the first holiday, I'm giving you a fixer. The second holiday is a fixer. That's according to the it's a fixer. I have a little Gemara head over here. The difference would be intentionally didn't do it by both. According to everybody, you did a negative thing. If you by mistake made by both, you both by the first Pesach, let's say you by mistake didn't do it, everybody will hold that you are not liable, right? The difference would be if you intentionally didn't do the first one and unintentionally didn't do the first one, you went and became impure because you didn't want to do the carbon paste. So you decided, I want to take a break this holiday. So you intentionally didn't do you intentionally became impure. Then it came the second Pesach, you unintentionally didn't do it. Intentionally didn't do the first one, unintentionally didn't do the second one. According to Rebbe, 12 days.
Yeah.
If they gave you a second, how you didn't do the first one, you didn't do the second one, you missed the situation. According to Abnasan, since it's a redress, and really the negate is the first one. The first one you didn't do intentionally. You are chayav kares. You did a negative command. According to Abnasan, according to Chanina, that you didn't do the first one could have been fixed on the second one. After you didn't do the second one is unintentionally. So therefore, you would be not you wouldn't have done the Aveda. Intentionally on the first one, and then you intentionally missed the second one. Did that be you didn't do carbon? The Abishta gave you a second time to do the carbon second yantiv. You didn't do it. Right. According to Rab Nosson and according to Rabbi Chananya, you would be potter, because according to Rab Nosson, you're potter because the first one you didn't do intentionally. The main one is the first one. So even though the second one you intentionally didn't do it, doesn't make a difference because it's the main thing. The first one. Rabbi Chananya ben Akavi, you're not responsible because again, the first one is also the most important. The second one is the fix. That I didn't do the first one intentionally is already, I'm not chayiv kares. You got it, because but it's not important. The main thing is that's not the most important thing. Let's explain to you the difference of these three rabbis. In when Pesach Sheni, what's the real purpose of Pesach? Question over here that Rebbe wants to know is Rebbe. Rebbe is the question of the Sikha. Rebbe says it's a Pesach, it's a holiday on itself. That's really the Rebbe's question. How can Rebbe say that the Pesach Sheni is a holiday on itself? How does Rebbe say that? And the story comes out in the Torah that the Pesach Sheni is openly, the Torah says, it's a make-up holiday. Right? The Torah says these people were impure. And they came and they said, we're impure. And the Torah openly says, if the Torah openly says, if you're impure, you shall bring the Pesach. How does Rebbe say it's a make-up holiday? And the truth is, if it's a holiday on its own, why don't we all celebrate Pesach Sheni? Why do all Jews celebrate Pesach Sheni, according to Rebbe? All Jews should have celebrated Pesach Sheni, whether they were totally pure in the first Pesach or not. They should have celebrated Pesach Sheni. What's the meaning of Rebbe? That's really the question. What's the meaning of Rebbe? Is the answer. In essence, the Rebbe says Rebbe does not go away from everybody's interpretation that Pesach Sheni is that it's a makeup for the first one. That's the pasuk. Rebbe wants to say that there's an extra concept in Pesach Sheni. Not only Pesach Sheni is a makeup for the first one, but Pesach Sheni has a whole different meaning according to them. Okay?
Yeah.
Where we first have to understand what is the meaning of tashlumin. What is the meaning to complete something? What is something? Is a completion for Pesach Rishon. What means to complete? Look at text number 6. In the Melashim for Tashlumim, in the word to complete, is dot tzvei perushim. There are two meanings. One meaning, A, is to make whole, to fill what was lacking. You had something in A, right, that was lacking. So you need to complete it. Missing something in the first Pesach, so you need to complete it in the. And there's a second meaning of tashlim. Shalim is to make it perfect. What it means? There's nothing lacking. Just want to make it perfect. It's more than that. We'll soon see. Not here just to fill in something that is missing. We're here to make it complete. We're here to make it perfect. I'll give you a few examples, okay, even as it's explained in halacha, okay? So there's a situation that you fix something or you make it perfect. It's two different concepts. You can fix, you can make it perfect. How does that explain itself in Jewish law? We learned this in the Torah a couple of weeks ago, Leviticus chapter 25, verse 30. The Torah introduces us to a mitzvah of the Jews that received land in Eretz Yisrael. The Jews received land in Eretz Yisrael by the tribes, right? They came in, they were given land, right? Each tribe got their land. Every family got their property, right? So it says, what happens if a person needs to sell their property? Right? Do you remember those laws?
Yeah.
The Torah says if you're in a surrounding city, you can sell your property within the year. I mean, you can sell the property, you can rebuy it, redeem it within the year. You have a year to redeem it. I sold it in Nissan, I have till next Nissan to redeem the property. If I don't redeem it, if it's a surrounding wall city, I don't redeem it within the year, inheritance from my father. My grandpa, my great grandpa. I have a year to redeem it. Got that law? It's in front of you, text number 7. If the house is not redeemed at the end of a complete year, the house of a walled city remains in the possession of the buyer in perpetuity throughout his generation. It does not leave the buyer even in Jubilee year. Right? So he loses the property. Now, you see how the Torah says two words over here? Shana Tamima. I mean, a complete year. To say a complete year. A year is a complete year. Everybody knows a year is 12 months. So why is the Torah to say the word Shana Tamima, a complete year? True complete year.
The same day, the same time.
This year, with 2 others. What's a complete year?
Oh, yeah.
13 months or 12 months? This year it's 13 months. Right. Well, maybe no, but maybe a complete year is 12 months. Yeah. This year, but you might say, since in general, a year, majority of years, it's 12 months. That's a shana. A shana is 12 months. You're right. Not a complete year. A complete year is in a Ibor, in a leap year like this year. A complete year is 13 months. Or even so, what does that show you? That a complete year. What's a complete year? This year it's 13 months. It's not just adding on something. Complete year is 13 months. No, a year is 12 months. No, it is 12 months. That's it. 12 months. 12 months is a year. It's not a complete year. Not a complete year, because in a complete year it would be 13 months. But in a year, it's 12 months. A year is 12 months. So the Torah, in essence, that's you're right, that's a good example. So the morning situation is 12 months. In a year, the yard site would not be in 12 months, it will be in 13 months. The yard site is in 13 months, but the morning period is 12 months. The Torah adds the word complete to include an additional month of a leap year. That's what the Torah says. So the Gemara says that the Torah says, Tamima, complete, to tell us that it needs to be complete, you need to add a 13 months. You need to add in a leap year 13 months. In essence, in a regular year, you don't say it's incomplete for 12 months, because that's a year. A year is 12 months. But in a leap year, it's incomplete. It's not have 12 months and you have another month. It's incomplete. If you're going to count the year in a leap year, 12 months, it's incomplete. I think the next example is much better. Look at this. This is a classical example. Classical law on the Torah. Always people are hard to understand this law in charity. What the Torah means in charity. Look at the next verse. The Torah says in charity, you shall surely open your hand to him, text number 8a, and lend him enough to cover all the deficiencies that he lacks. Now, this is interesting. Look at the word of Torah. They machsele, you should fulfill all his deficiencies. Ashe yachsele. That's a double expression. What does it mean? You shall help a person what he's missing, right? Fill in the person that he's missing. That's it. Why does the Torah say that he lacks? There's two things. There's helping a person in what he's missing, and there's giving a person what he lacks. A rich person that used to drive a Bentley. Now he's become poor. Give him what he needs, food, and a roof over his head, is not giving him what he lacks, is not completing him. Because he's used to driving a Bentley. Look at the Gemara, text number 8b. Our sages taught the word enough to cover all of the deficiencies instructs you to support the poor man, but they need not instruct you to make him wealthy. The word that he lacks tells us to give him even a horse to ride upon and a servant to run before him, if that is what he lacks. So the Gemara didn't have a Bentley. So the Gemara says, if the guy is used to having horses, and a guy run in front of those horses because he's a wealthy guy, he has a guy running in front of them, then that is what he lacks. So if you're just going to give him what he needs and not what he lacks, you might have helped him, but you didn't complete him. So you can fill what is lacking, or you can complete the person. You give him what he is missing. Complete. It's me complete. That's why giving somebody charity, you can give him, oh, he needs food, he needs a room and board. Really, what makes him complete? What did he have before? So there's a concept of fixing something that's missing, and is making something perfect. That's the pasuk. You have that's why the Gemara says you have. There's two things: to give a person what he's missing, and then make him complete. Different things. You need to give a person what he's missing. He's missing. Became poor. He's missing food. He's missing clothes. He's missing shelter. But that by giving him that, you're not making him complete. Not bring him to the way he was before. The way he was before. Obligated to do to make yourself incomplete. That's not the point. So no, you can't make yourself incomplete to complete somebody else. Then you're just going to have somebody else to make you complete. There's going to become a vicious cycle. It's the community that needs to do this.
Oh.
No, I think it's the concept.
Yeah.
In a frame mind of what means the concept of fixing something or filling something or bringing something back to where it needs to be. In essence, the Rebbe wants to say, look at text number 9. Debbie, when we bring the Paschal offering on the 14th day of Iyar, it is a complete and independent Paschal offering, in addition to fulfilling what is missed on the first Passover. That's Rebbe is necessarily saying, not only are you fixing something, filling in something that you missed before, actually, you're creating a whole new entity. You're not only just fixing something, you are actually making a new holiday. This means that the 14th of Iyar is the right day, the correct festival for the Paschal law. It's like it has its own identity. When we say the motive of Pesach Sheni is never too late, we mean not only that we can make up for something that we have missed, which is a general repair. We mean that we can accomplish it perfectly with every detail intact. We say that Pesach Sheni is not just a restoration for the first Passover, but rather an independent holiday. We mean that it's not merely a restoration that fills in gaps that we miss. Rather, it's its own festival. What previously missed is completed to perfection. That means that by doing Pesach Sheni, not only do I fix Pesach Rishon, it's as if I'm doing Pesach Rishon. It's if I'm doing the first Passover. This brings us back to a general thing to what we say, that tshuva, the aspect of tshuva, the power of tshuva. Tshuva does not only fill in the past, it actually brings back the past. fix it. It's like you have retroactively you have done you have accomplished the past.
Wow.
Text number 10. How can a later deed change something that occurred earlier? It says when you do tshuva, your negative turns into positive. How is that possible? I did a negative 10 years ago. I did tshuva 10 years later. How does 10 years later affect that 10 years ago when I did negative becomes a positive? We do not find in Torah that a certain action impact their predecessors. But that is only when the action doesn't establish a new reality. They merely clarify and establish what occurred earlier. In so much as they establish and clarify an earlier truth, they can impact our perception of the past. So that's the point. The point is tshuva not only fills in something from the past, tshuva actually changes the past. Break with the past and create a new reality should not be able to affect the past. The effects can't precede the cause. Understand? So it's actually what?
It turns back the clock.
It turned back the clock, in essence, right? So in essence, the tshuva brings about that's what I've done in the past. I'm revealing the truth of the past. A separate issue. That is hopefully you'll never do it again. But that has nothing to do with the present time that I did tshuva. Tshuva has a pact that proves that there's something that I did in the past, that I did it in the past is not the truth of why I did it in the past. Got that? So this is the repentance that Rebbe says, text number 11. This is like repentance from love of God, which changes the sin that we have committed before we repented. Repentance can change the past because it doesn't create a new reality. Love of God has always been the reality. I'm not starting anew when I do tshuva. I'm retroactively showing what I really had before. The sin that I did was not my real reality. The love of God that I had before I sinned was the real. When was it proven? Maybe many years later. It's been proven that what I've done before was not the real reality. So much love of God as always our reality, so much our soul, our inner reality was faithful to God even while we committed a sin. Just that the inner commitment was concealed. And our repentance reveals what had always been true. Therefore, it can impact it. That's bringing something to perfection. Tshuva is thus rectifying the past, that it can change the past. If tshuva is bringing to perfection, then tshuva is revealing that the past was not real. That's why tshuva ma'av, if I do tshuva out of love, it reveals that I always had love of God. Even when I sinned, I had love. Even while I was sinning, I had love of God. The sin, the desire, the will, the desire to do the sin was more powerful than my love. But I never lost the love of God. It reveals that I always had love. And if it reveals that I always had love, so that means that I really never sinned. The sin was something that was added onto who I really am. And that's why tshuva brings us back to its original state.
But why? And now
Yeah,
you
that's the lower level. You're right, but then how do you change the past? The past.
Why not have?
Cannot, like, for example, I want to give you an example. I asked you to do something for me, right? I asked you to do something for me. And you said, we agree, you're going to do it for me. And it's going to take you a week to do it, right? The week passes, the month passes, you haven't done it, right? I call you and say, listen, I asked you to do something to me. You said you're going to do it in a week and you haven't done it. You say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to get it done in 1 week. And you get it done in 1 week. Does that help that you didn't do it in the past in the 1 week? I asked you to do something? No. You do something for me. You didn't do it for me. And that's a lost situation. Does this rectify that you did what you didn't do? It doesn't. It just now that you've done it. Okay, Baruch Hashem, we have completed. But I lost a month. That loss of a month, whatever, it's a law. You can't bring back the month. You can't bring back the month. So the question is the same thing. How can tshuva ever rectify something that has been done in the past? Okay, so you've done it now. Thank you. But still, you have missed something in the past.
Yeah.
How do you bring it back? So by doing it, doesn't rectify the loss of the month of the past. We figure out how to do that. God can accept tshuva because he's above time and space. So therefore, to the Eibishter, there's no 2 months ago, no time and space. So that's why God can go back. There's no time and space. No time and space, right? So that's why it's really difficult for a person to do, for people to do tshuva. Because you're right, okay, so now you're going to start being good, thank you. But meanwhile, what do I do with all the negative that you have done in the past? Ain't that too loud? You're in your Facebook. Okay. Pesach Sheni, the Rebbe says. Look at text. The Rebbe is going to give a beautiful example. Pesach Sheni was for those Jews who were impure. After acknowledging and confessing their impurity, they approached with a heartful plea. We are impure by contact with a dead person. Why should we lose out and honor to bring the divine an offering in its time amongst the children of Israel? This was an expression of repentance in every aspect. It included a confession of their fault, a plea to restore what they are lacking, a plea for perfection. They asked not only for the chance to bring the offering, but to bring it in its time. And amongst the children of Israel, they said they don't want to have to fix her upper. They want to bring the Korban Pesach. They don't have something that's going to fix. They want to be like as they brought it on the first of the month. That. Right? So even they're going to say bring it on the 14th day, how is that going to accomplish missing part of being part of the whole Israel, right? So even if they would have brought it on, even if God brings up an issue, bring it on the next month. But the whole Jews are bringing it on next month. So we're still separate. They don't want that. They be as if they brought it on the first of the month of Nisan. It just says, you know what? Right. Bring it on the next month, and I'll consider it as if you brought it on Pesach Rishon. And that's what Rabbi Yehuda meant. Rabbi Yehuda meant the two rabbis, the Rebbe says. Rabbi Yehuda meant that by a Jew, bringing it on the Pesach Sheni is as if they brought it on Pesach Rishon. They didn't bring it on Pesach Rishon. They brought it on the second Pesach. But Rabbi Yehuda said it's a yontiv b'fnei atzmei. It's like the first Pesach. It's like the yontiv of the first Pesach. It's not just a fixer-upper. It's the yontiv of Pesach. To these Jews who are bringing it on the second Pesach, it's like they brought it on the first Pesach.
cups of wine on the.
No, this is the carbon Pesach.
It's
not the
only-
drink.
only
It's the
about
carbon
the
Pesach.
water.
Right, it's the
Okay,
carbon
it's
Pesach.
only about-
Today we eat matzah, symbolically, to eat matzah. We see this concept. This concept is a powerful law in the next concept. Ready? Mishnah's guy, what happens in Torah law? If a ger becomes a ger between Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheni, what happens if a guy converts between the first Passover and the second Passover? A cotton shehigdo b'shnei pesachim, or a cotton, a child that comes by mitzvah between the first Pesach and the second Pesach. Okay? So a convert, before he converts, he's a guy. He's not obligated to bring, he's not allowed to bring a cotton Pesach. And a cotton is not obligated to bring the first Pesach. Look, what happens? A convert converts in between the first and second Pesach. A child becomes an adult between the first and second Pesach. What's the halacha? Chayev laseh Pesach Sheni. He's obligated to bring the second Pesach. He had no responsibility to bring the first Pesach. The Gemara says, Talmud says, Divrei Rebbe, that this is the words of Rebbe. Rebbe says he's obligated to bring the first Pesach. He's obligated to bring the second Pesach. So a child that becomes an adult, you're going to say, okay, he still was part of the Pesach, right? He's part of the first Passover as a child. He's still in the chinuch, his parents. So therefore, he might be obligated. But a convert, a guy, Pesach. So why would a guy be obligated to bring the Pesach Sheni? To Rebbe, why would he be obligated? He didn't have a soul the first Pesach. He didn't have a Jewish soul the first Pesach. Oh, because this is a deep concept. Look at this. From this you'll understand what the Rebbe wanted to bring out. Okay? As we know, the convert, in text number 14a, the question is even more. A convert is complete like a newborn infant. It's like a newborn child. So he became a newborn thing in between Pesach and Pesach Sheni. Pesach Rishon, he was a good Sheni, the new person. So why doesn't he need to bring it? He was a guy.
Yeah, but he was always a Jew anyway.
The Rebbe says, 614b, by saying a convert who converts rather than a non-Jew converts, the sages taught us that before they converted, their soul can be found on Mount Sinai where they received the Torah. This means that the soul was in a lofty, wondrous state on Mount Sinai from the time of Memorial, where they waited their chance to join our people. The sages thus correctly say a convert who converts. But this guy was a guy on the first Pesach was a hidden in his essence. He was a Jew. Allah, he was a guy. He was not allowed to bring the first.
Hashem knows the future.
So wait, in essence, he was a Jew. So therefore, he converts. He's just bringing out. Pesach Sheni just reveals what he was. The Pesach Sheni just reveals what he was.
Deflates it.
It comes, fix it. Right. If it was thus fixing, very good. If it was thus fixing, there's nothing to fix. Pesach, he was not Jewish. You're not fixing something. He was not Jewish. He was not allowed to bring the Pesach. But if it's completed, he was a Jew, the first Pesach. It brings out what he was really the first Pesach. That's the beauty. Look at the Rebbe, text number 15. We respect a convert who converts between the first Passover and the Pesach Sheni, though his Jewish soul only appeared after his conversion, was really a convert even before he converted. He has a spark of a holy soul before he was a Jew. Thus, his conversion revealed his retrospective connection to the mitzvah of the Torah. Therefore, he's not only rendered himself a perfect by bringing the Pesach Sheni, he's also correcting what was lacking from the perspective of his soul. There's an expression that says, if good is not good, is better not better? Right? That's usually the expression. If good is good, is better not better? But according to this, it's if better is not better, then good is not good. You got that? It's not if good is better not better. If better is not better, then good is not good. And that's what a Jew needs to reach up to. Rebbe says it's not just to be good. Jew needs to want to be better. If better is not better, then good is not good.
Isn't that the whole Torah, to make a person, to refine people?
No, we're not looking to refine people. We're looking to become who we really are.
Yeah.
Is thus fixing yourself. Pesach Sheni teaches us, Rebbe says, become perfect because you are perfect.
Complete yourself.
You're not just good, you are better. Be who you are,
Yeah,
not who you're supposed to be. Be who you are.
already.
Reveal who you really are. And who are you really? Much better. Not just good.
Not just better.
Rebbe comes and teaches. You see this? Okay. Rebbe teaches us that Pesach Sheni, Rebbe tells us in Pesach Sheni is not a fixer for something that's lacking. Pesach Sheni reveals who we really are. Pesach Sheni reveals that what we were missing in Pesach, we're really not missing anything in Pesach Rishon. We're really not missing anything. Really had it to begin with. Something was added on us. That's why we didn't do it on Pesach Rishon. No, we did it on Pesach Rishon because we didn't want to do it on Pesach Rishon or because we were far away. No, we were never far away. We were always there. Pesach Sheni reveals us not that only there's no fafalin, we were never fafalin. It's not that only that we were never lost, we were always there. We always can reveal that we were always there. That's what Pesach Sheni teaches us. So Pesach Sheni, in essence, the Rebbe says, Rebbe tells us that Pesach Sheni not only teaches and instructing for found never too late. Pesach Sheni teaches us that we are always there. We reveal our neshama because our shana is always there. That's why he says Pesach Sheni is a yontiv b'fnei atzmei. Pesach Sheni is not just a fixer, only a fixer-upper. Pesach Sheni is like Pesach Rishon. It's a holiday in its own. Pesach Sheni is like about tshuva. About tshuva is not only fixing the past. If you're going to fix the past, then it's impossible to fix the past. The past is the past. Pesach Sheni, tshuva realizes that the past was not bad.
Needed to go through that.
The past was not who you really were. The past was an act that you were doing. And therefore, if you go back to your essence, the past, the past was good as the present. Love God then like you love God now. You were a Jew then like you're a Jew now. Just in the past, you were playing around. And now you realize that, you know what?
That wasn't such
That wasn't such a
a
good idea. That acting was not such a good idea.
What is a literal translation of,
Second Pesach.
no, it's shame?
Second.
That's second?
Second. Rishon is one. Sheni is second.
So what's one?
Rishon. Pesach Rishon. The first Passover.
Rishon.
Rishon. One.
Rishon.
Pesach Sheni is the second Passover. And did you get that?
She got it.
Did you get it? Did you get it? It's a very deep concept.
Our true essence can be buried.
Correct. So everybody in essence is good. Everybody is good, but we do negative things. And therefore, if we go back to our true essence, then it's just revealing what was always there. And once we reveal what is always there, then everything else dissipates. Then all the things that we added does disappears. The lessons, we still have
But
Pesach
the
Sheni.
lesson is,
We still have Pesach Sheni. So today, we have Pesach Sheni. So we don't say Tachdon today, we eat matzah. The Pesach Sheni is still there. The 14th of the year is called Pesach Sheni. It's still there. You don't have the Korban Pesach today, so you cannot bring the Korban Pesach. So that's the
it's
situation.
like a mitzvah which you no longer perform.
Right. You can't book it. You don't have Pesach either. You can't perform in Pesach Rishon either.
Right, because we're not in.
You're not, you don't have so. No, you don't have Pesach
We don't
Mikdash.
have
You
the
don't have-
base of the God, so we got to wait.
The main thing is, well, we want to bring out of here the lesson of Pesach Sheni. That the lesson of Pesach Sheni is more than it's not just a lost case. It's more than that. Rebbe in essence teaches us that Pesach Sheni teaches us that's not just you're here to fix something in the past. You're here really to reveal the true essence, which was never needed fixing, which was always perfect. So therefore, don't go to fix something, bring perfection.
Revelation.
You are perfect. Why should you go and fix it? Go and make it perfect.
And if we,
Amen, that's for
Wait till
sure.
I go home
So
and tell
why-
myself that I'm perfect.
what are we ready?
You are
I
perfect.
got nothing.
We are all perfect. We are all perfect. And let us go to perfection. That's what I said before. If we usually say if good is better, not better. But the Torah says if better is better, then good is not good enough. Understand? If better is better, then good is not good enough. Okay? So if you're looking just to be good, okay, good. But if you're looking to be better, then good is not good.
It's better to be
You
better.
need to be better. So if you're just looking for a fixer-upper, then you'll get a fixer-upper. But if you're looking for the perfection, you'll get perfection. And Rabbi says, don't look for the fixer-upper. Look better. Look for it as a, don't look at the Pesach Sheni as a fixer-upper. Look, I'm perfect.
Amen.
Somebody else, make him perfect. That's what you learn from the tzedakah. Don't just look to fix things and try to make it perfect. Make it perfect. We can make it perfect. We are perfect. We don't have to try to make something perfect. We are perfect. It's in our essence. We are perfect. need to go to us. Beautiful, classic. If you understand the Sikh, it's a classic. How the Rebbe always wanted that we should go to perfection, not just to go to be good. Go to perfection because you are right. Always go higher. Go higher. Don't look just fix things up and just to be good, make things good. Go for it, baby. Go for the best. Go for the gold. Don't always look to just make it. Oh, I'm just gonna make it. Oh, I'm just gonna do it, to make sure I've done it. No, my friends, we should all go for perfection. Everything should be done. We should try to do it in the most perfect way because we could do it in the most perfect way. Beautiful day, my friends. Go make it happen. Okay? Have a great day. Great sikha of the